I'm Dr. Kelly Winarski, and this is Kairos Connect. And I am here with Dr. Ben Storey, who's going to tell us all about his practice and what makes it different and what opportunities he has available for us. So, Dr. Ben, tell me about the practice you're hiring for. How long has it been established?
Hey, good morning, Kelly. So I've been in practice for 27 years, and we opened a joint chiropractic clinic in October of 2021. So this clinic we're hiring for at this particular time and location is recently opened within, we've hit almost 3 years now.
Beautiful. I love what the joint is doing in terms of offering some of the best salaries that I'm seeing across the country. Can you tell me what makes your joint establishment different than maybe, than all the others?
Sure. First of all, I'm really glad you asked that because I feel like there's kind of an elephant in the room whenever we talk about the joint chiropractic because of most of its misconception. And to be frank with you, I initially, when I was in private practice, I had a bias against the joint. I thought that it was just a pain relief clinic. I had this impression that one of my associates mentioned that she had been adjusted at the joint over the weekend when she was in the Metroplex, and so I had this connotation about the joint. And whenever I felt like it was on my heart to check out the joint, I really focused on understanding more about their procedures and realized that really it's a clinic much like all of ours in the sense that they provide chiropractic care, which is the crux of what we do. I mean, that's where the foundation of chiropractic is. And so when I decided to go into the joints, my big mission was to change the culture of the joints. And, the first thing we did was face some of the things that I'd heard from other doctors working the joint. And, I felt like uh, we wanted the joint to be a place that would be a really good place for docs to come in and see a lot of patients and really learn. But in order to learn, you have to practice proper things so they'll become habit. And so that's kind of where I come in. I have a history with a practice management company where I was a consultant for about 8 years. I have 27 years of experience in chiropractic, and I'm really, really hands-on. And I think that when we as joint owners realize that the joints are stepping stones for a lot of the docs that are getting out there needing a job right out of school, or we'll find a lot of docs they're just tired of active practice in the sense of owning, and so they love the idea of being able to come in and treat patients, do what they love without the hassles. And so in changing the culture, we start with making sure that our doctors are really well trained on protocols, how to communicate with patients. We speak regularly via email, phone, meetings, things like that to make sure that any area that I can help these doctors really provide the very best care possible. And most of that comes through communications with patients. And so I think that that's the big thing that sets us apart. And I'll tell you, it's working because, our docs in the clinics are really, really, they seem very, very happy. They all seem to like their jobs.
Yeah,
They're
let me
learning a
stop you right
lot.
there
Yeah.
because when you and I talked, I was like, man, this does not feel like a standard joint. It really feels like a teaching clinic, like but the other misconception I think about a lot of the joints is that there's this high turnover with doctors, but that's not the case with you. Your doctors are staying with you for several years. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. Whenever I have a doctor come on board, I really stress the importance for patients to
Mhm.
have doctors that are there in the clinic and not just bouncing from clinic to clinic. So, we always ask for 2 to 3 year commitment. Most of the doctors sign a 3 year with us, and they realize, and like I tell them, it's something that in order for you to become your very best and be prepared to step out into your own practice, really come into our clinics. Let me help you learn the things that you didn't learn in school, and that way you'll have a better chance of being successful. So I think the doctors that I hate to use the term buy into that, but they do, and the ones that do that and come in with that idea that they're there to really help me help them become their very best self from a chiropractic communication standpoint and a patient care standpoint, I think it really works well. So that leads to the longevity. And, one thing I will tell you, Kelly, it's really cool that we'll have patients that come in that have been joint patients for years in other cities. And we hear this in all three of the clinics we have open now. It's not an isolated incident. In other words, they come in and they'll actually say, man, this joint is different than any joint I've ever been in. And,
Mm.
whenever you talk to them further, they actually go into the fact that it just feels different. The energy's
Yeah.
different. So, I guess that's my love language, as you will.
Mhm.
I just hear that, and it just makes me really happy because mission accomplished. And so that's kind of where we're at with the joint. I don't want to take over your conversation there, but
Well, no, this is meant to just be a conversation. Absolutely. I think you have a real interesting spin on the joint, and it sounds like a really great, warm and welcoming environment. Um, so, tell me about your time frame for hiring. When are you looking to hire? And we're looking specifically at Lexington, North Carolina, as your immediate need for hire. Tell us about Lexington.
yeah, so Lexington is in North Carolina. It's about 45 minutes north of Charlotte. Um, North Carolina is just full of trees and beauty, especially this time of year. It's just coming from West Central Texas, it's just a different environment. And so I really love the trees, and I like to hike. And so what I found, usually what draws me to a place is something that typically will draw other doctors to places. And so the Lexington, North Carolina area is just full of places to hike. There's waterfalls all over. The film Last of the Mohicans, the waterfall scene was filmed in North Carolina, and it's just a beautiful state, and people are really friendly. Lexington is like the barbecue capital of the world, so I think that's their claim to fame, and it's just the city is just very. Kind of a small town feel, but it's so close to everything. You don't feel like you're missing out. There's places to hike. There's great restaurants. There's a lively cultural scene, and not to mention if you're a sports fan, Charlotte, North Carolina. They have all the sports teams, and so you can hop over there and be there in about 45 minutes to an hour, and you can have a great day there. There's a really big zoo close to Lexington, if you like that kind of thing, and just a lot of good family stuff. So it's a really good family town, although both of our doctors currently there, one has children, one does not. And so they both find their own mix of things to do, which is really cool that it seems to cater to people of all ages and interests, which is one of the reasons why we decided to put a clinic here.
Beautiful. Lots of Southern charm. I want to visit Lexington
Oh,
now.
it's nice. Yeah, you'll like it.
Any techniques that you're looking for in particular or any specialties?
So the big thing with the way we coach our doctors in the clinics are, number one, you can't use anything. Let me rephrase that. You can use anything that's taught in school.
Mhm.
We don't like it has to be the model of the joint is such that the patients will see different doctors when they go in most of the time, and it's very important to me to make sure there's continuity of care. And because the person that's going to feel like there's continuity of care, they're going to make their appointments, therefore they're going to get the results they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so we really love it seems to be mostly a diversified and a drop clinic. We use
Mhm.
a lot of both of those, although just like any typical practice, the mission is to get the adjustment done.
That's
And
it.
so we leave that up to our doctors. If whoever processes a new patient, they will be the doc that decides how we start with them. And then we coach our docs to continue that methodology as long as it's working. So let's say that somebody is doing all diversified and they're responding well to it, and I happen to see that patient, then obviously I'm going to do the same thing because they're getting results. And if we change it, we talk to the patient, let them know why we're changing the technique. And we found through the years that patients really appreciate that because they find that really it doesn't matter to them which doctor's there because they find they get great results with all of them. And I think most of that has to do with the fact that we communicate through notes within the system. And so, we have a great way of basically making patients feel like they're at home, and that every doctor knows that special little thing about the patient, whether it's their
Mm,
favorite NFL team or their favorite way to get adjusted. We find that if we make it a personal visit, that they tend to get the care they need.
very cool. All right, and so hiring in Lexington, what's your time frame, Doc?
So we could put a doc on tomorrow. If I had a doc that needed a
Mm,
job, we could certainly do it. I'm basically it's a new clinic, so it's not crazy busy right now. Although it's growing really fast, and so our doctors are never bored. We have two full-time docs there, and I'm the third doc that fills in. And so I love seeing patients, so I can do that for months and months. But we do need this position filled as soon as possible. But we have a lot of flexibility. So if we happen to have a doc that's new out of school and we felt like we were a great fit for each other, we could certainly nurse this position along and hold it for the right person until they actually graduated. But in an ideal situation, I'd love to have it filled sometime in May.
beautiful. All right. Thank you so much. Is there any advice you have for a potential applicant? Anything that you would recommend?
The biggest thing for me is communication, and I think
Mhm.
that the way we've made our clinics successful, the doctors that really thrive in our environment is via communication, understanding that this is a place that I don't really I don't really like to just go into a place and clock in and clock out and not feeling like I'm contributing to something. And so for doctors that are looking for that, this may not be the best position for you. Although when I
Mm,
say that, there's nothing after you clock out that you have to worry about. Everything's taken care of. You get to go home, spend time with your family, do your fun stuff without having to worry about a clinic. Although when you're there, it's very much hands-on. And I love a doc that comes in, and you always hear the phrase thrown around, coachable. But
mhm.
the realistic thing is, whenever somebody comes in with the mindset that this can be a great place to learn, and it's all done in a way that is very beneficial for the doctor and the patient, which is what I always go back to. So, I guess the big thing and the big piece of advice I would give is to make sure you're very communicative, and that you're open to somebody helping you along the way that's gonna, and understand with the end result in mind. It's like a patient. When we're treating patients, we really try to make sure the patient focuses on where is this going to be in 3 months or a year. What's my end range in mind? And if you focus entirely just on pain with the patients, they're not going to look at the end range as far as
Mhm.
what am I able to do because I'm not hurting, or what's my function now, right? So as a
Absolutely.
result of that, it keeps patients on the course of wellness care, and it sets them up for a lot more mobility in their future years. And I like to look at these positions in that same way. If we have a doctor that comes in, and if we focus on, all right, what's your goal? Where do you want to be at the end of this relationship, whether it's in 3 years or 10 years, where do you want to be within your practice life, and what can I do to help you reach that goal? And so we find if docs come in and they're communicative, then it and coachable, it really makes a difference.
Awesome. Awesome, Dr. Ben. Thank you so much for sharing all of that about your clinic. Um, if you're watching this and you want to apply, you can send your resume to info@kairosconnect.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you.